And we're back to Western New York High School Sports Weekly. I'm Francis Beck. I'm with Roger Weiss. We're going to talk some boys basketball in Section 6 and Monsignor Barden. Quickly, in Section 6, I'll give you a top scorer, the top assist man or passer, top rebounder. Devin Pope from Chautauqua leads the section in scoring. Justin Johnson has the most assists. He, of course, is from West Seneca West. And from Ellicottville, Elliot Bowden leads in rebounding. Big notes from this past week. Devin Pope got 52 points and 8 rebounds last night in a win over Panama. Devontae the Ticket Gaines from Health Sciences. He hit the 1,000 point mark Saturday with 52 points of his own in a win over Oracle. Dan Scott from Park passed 1,500 points. Just moments before we started filming, we found out Ray Blackwell from Maryville passed 1,000 points. And it turns out Tuesday, when they beat West Seneca East, the Indians broke a school record for points in a game with 101.
Yeah, triple digits. That's impressive. And they had quite a few guys. It's not like one person. It wasn't a 52-point performance by, Devontae Gaines or Devon Pope equivalent and all that. They have a bunch of players on that team.
Yeah, and I think this West Seneca, undefeated. You don't see that in basketball. I mean, football 13-0. I mean, that's pretty expected because that's where the season ends with your state championship. But for basketball to still be going at this rate, and the other thing is they're facing schools that are bigger than them in their division.
Well, yeah, they're ECIC 1, so they are all against AA teams now. Having said that, the AA teams, outside of Jamestown and ECIC 1 are not that powerful, I guess is the right word and all that. And I am a little bit leery for West Seneca West's sake, and bearing in mind it's my wife's alma mater, so no discouraging words, if you will, but I kind of question the strength of their schedule, and as a result, will they be playoff ready come February, late February? Will South, on the other hand, who eventually you'll have to get by Will South to win A1, they're playing a real tough schedule, so I don't know if West Seneca West will be prepared for that.
Well, and they haven't really faced any adversity all year. I look at their schedule, if I can bring it up. They've all won their games, by mostly 30 points or more. I mean, their closest game, 77-50 over Jamestown. That looks to be like their closest game all seasons, and a lot of these kids did play football, so you wonder, these kids really haven't faced any adversity since, the state title game, but, this whole year, they're winners since August.
Yeah, the school's having a fantastic year. Again, you just mentioned 20-point win against Jamestown. You beat a Ben Drake team by 20 points. That's nothing to turn your nose up to. That's an impressive win. Maybe they are for real, but overall their strength of schedule doesn't make their undefeated record that impressive.
We'll move on to Monsignor Martin. Jump ahead there. Park came up with an upset. They beat top-ranked in the state Canisius on Saturday pretty handily, I might add. Dan Scott, he had 25 points in the win, and he's now over 1,500 in his career. What did you think of that, Roger? Was that an upset in your mind, or was it just more an upset that it was done so handily?
Probably. I'm guessing, not having been at the game or reading that much about it, that the Crusaders were not all that. They had an off night. I don't know. Park is good. They can't be overlooked. I don't think they're the team they were a year ago, but they have a couple of good players. If you don't bring your A game, they are, you know, unbeatable. I don't know if that's the correct word, but yes, and it was in Parks Building too. I'd be interested in the rematch, and again, the Monsignor Martin playoffs can hardly wait.
Yeah, that's certainly going to be good. We talked about Ray Blackwell. His Flyers are currently 9-2 this season, and at the top of the PowerPoint scale in the A2. We talked about A1, B1. Quickly, we have Lackawanna on top. City Honors not too far behind. Anybody from the small schools? I know we talked about Chautauqua a little bit with Devin Pope that has really impressed you this year.
I haven't seen them yet, but I kind of look out for Franklinville. Everybody's watching the Franklinville girls. Franklinville boys, not too shabby. Coach Haskell doing a fine job. Boy, I'm going to put a lot of mileage on my vehicle because between the boys and the girls, take a few trips down to Jamestown for those C and D semis and or finals.
Yeah, they're certainly going to be good there. They're currently second in Class D, just behind East High School in Buffalo.
And, of course, you say East. East, Class D, Starling Bryant, defensive specialist. And like I said, repeated myself on the Saturday morning show with Anthony Caligiuri, what a radical coach that Coach Starling is. Francis, do you realize if you hold a team to 39 points, you only have to score 40 to win?
It's amazing.
Amazing. Why didn't I think of something like that? No, Starling Bryant preaches defense. Yes, once they get the ball in transition, then they can go down there and they can do all the running and gunning and shooting as long as it doesn't affect the defense. If it affects the defense, that's when he clamps down.
And Roger, I know you have the schedule in front of you. When do playoffs and things actually get started for the boys?
Okay, for the boys, the play-in round would start on Tuesday, February 20th. Now, bear in mind, there'll be some games after regular games that'll be scheduled there. There'll be non-league games because some teams that are seeded won't have to play a quarterfinal game until Friday the 23rd. And that means some teams would have to go over a week. So they may have scheduled some non-leaguers knowing that they were going to, not, be beyond the quarterfinals and all that. But the boys' first round is February 20th. And that is a play-in round. And that would probably be just Class B. All the other teams don't have enough. Well, I take that back. As Class C, there is no C1 and C2, so it might be Class C as well. They have to play in just to eliminate teams to have enough for the pre-quarterfinals. Then Friday the 23rd, that's when all the quarterfinals will be played in higher seed all through all 5 classes. Then the semis start at Buffalo State Monday the 26th with the B2 schools at 6 and 7:45. And at JCC the same night, the D schools. Then Tuesday the 27th at Buff State, you have 3 games. You'll have one B1 semi and both A2 semis. And at JCC, you will have the Class C semis. Wednesday the 28th at Buff State, the other B1 semi, as well as both A1 semis. Thursday at Buff State, we'll have the AA semis. Friday at Jamestown Community, you will have the D final and the C final. And then the Marathon Day, Saturday, March 3rd at Buffalo State. B2 final at noon, B1 at 1:45, A2 at 3:30. That's a part of a triple header. Then they clear the gym. And then they come back at 7 o'clock having the A1 final, and at 8:30 the AA final. And I try to be neutral on all these. The only time I root for is I want Niagara Falls there because I love it when they bring their band. That makes the atmosphere electric.
Yeah, especially in a small gym like Buffalo State. And we've talked about a few teams, West Seneca West. You brought up Niagara Falls, Franklinville. Give me one team that you expect to see when it's all said and done at Buff State.
Will South.
Will South?
Absolutely. And Greg Dolan, I guess he's hasn't made a choice for college yet. I'm hearing there's 2 Ivy League teams at the top of his possibility list. He's a talent. He could easily play in the Atlantic 10, the Bonaventure UMass Conference. He's that good. He's already broke Phil Stasiak's rebounding and scoring record at Will South. That's saying something. Did I say Phil Stasiak?
Yeah, you said Phil.
Okay, sometimes I say Paul, which is his dad. And also, he probably will just miss out on the assist record, which a lot of people thought he would break. Unfortunately, that record is held by Mark Capola, who played varsity from 8th grade on, and the young man who's now coaching at, I want to say Sweet Home. He was at Sweet Home if he's not still there. Was a playmaker par excellence. So he might not quite catch Capola, but what a talent. And if you haven't seen him yet, get out to either Will South before the season ends or definitely at Buff State. I would be shocked if they do not make it to the semis at Buff State. In fact, if they don't, hold the front pages.
And Dolan's currently averaging a little over 30 points per game. Certainly he'll go down as an all-timer. That was our Western New York High School Athletic Weekly boys basketball segment. We're going to be back for girls basketball.